This is Rooted the Podcast, and I want to say hello to my brother or sister pastors, and possibly it occurs to me that there might be some spouses that tune in from time to time, or church leaders, or just brothers and sisters in Christ who might, we're all human. Many of us face, most of us face many similar things. Some of these topics are just very, very specifically related to pastors, but most of them can be generalized in some way to the rest of humanity. Welcome. Wanted to say a couple of things. First of all, when I do these podcasts, it's usually during the day. That's when I have, I think, the most creative energy, or it's just my time. And because it's the spring right now around here, there's always some kind of a mower, a trimmer. There's something going on in the yards around where I live. So if you hear some of that, so be it. That's a piece of my real life, and sorry, not sorry. I just wanted you to know that's what's going on. I've got some very good equipment, but we don't have a sound studio or anything like that. We just do what we do on our dining room table. And also, I wanted to say that now that we're into these podcasts, maybe we've got, we've recorded 10, 12, 14 of them, something like that. I wanted to say, if you would like to have a specific topic addressed, please just let us know at the website, www.rootedministries.co. That's .co, not .com, but .co, where there are several different opportunities to share whatever you want to share, a place to send me an email. I think you can even connect with our board. Maybe not, but in any case, you can connect with us through the website and give us a topic that you'd like us to address, or you can email me at directly at the letter J, Kevin Love Carla at Comcast.net. That's J Kevin Love Carla at Comcast.net. So for this moment, what I want to talk about is the part two of what to do the day after Sunday, the day after the sermon. We talked in part one about, what to do about the sermon itself. Does it have to be perfect, and what is our perfectionism about, and kind of how to handle some of that. What I'd like to talk about at this moment is more just the general emotional feelings we bring into a Monday, especially if we have really given of ourselves on Sunday. Now, I don't know how you roll, but I can tell you that, Sunday being, in our culture in the West, the main time that people set aside to gather with the other brothers and sisters, I gave of myself emotionally. I did not hold back. It was like game day for me. And so, though I try to be emotionally present every day of the week whenever I'm with a brother or sister, because that's a sacred moment, you notice that Jesus was always fully emotionally present with the people around him. He wasn't looking over their shoulder, looking for the next conversation, preoccupied, staring off into space, thinking about something he needed to do last week or tomorrow. He was right there with that son or daughter of God, because they were sacred. They were children of the Father, even if they didn't know it yet. And he was emotionally present with them. I always tried to be emotionally present, but on Sundays, you would be emotionally present to, a zillion different people. If you were giving of your heart in those conversations and not saving and holding back and kind of just, protecting yourself, which I don't think we're called to protect ourselves in those moments. By and large, we're called to give ourselves away. Then you are going to be exhausted on Monday. And one of the things I wanted to say in this podcast is simply that we're gived out on Monday. We're loved out on Monday, and I think that's to be expected. And so I think instead of shaming ourselves for why are we feeling these somewhat depressive feelings, the pain, when you create space for people to share pain on Sundays, and they share it with you, and we absorb it because we truly love them, you can expect some of that to be on you, in you, around you when you hit Monday. If we engage with people and don't check out, Monday can expect to be, I don't want to overuse the word depression, but somewhat of a depressive day. And in fact, if we can go into Monday just chipper, if you will, I guess I would ask, what kind of space did you create for people to be authentic with you on Sunday? I know sometimes people will share joys, but many times people will come to us and share their sorrows if they know that we're safe. So to me, if we're present, people will open up, and we're going to feel the effects of that on Monday. So what I would find myself doing on Monday, and I used to feel some shame about this. Now, looking back, I don't think I needed to, and I think toward the end of the 35 years I was a senior pastor, I gave myself more space. I would find myself in a dark room for a couple of hours watching, I don't know, reruns of Chicago PD or Law and Order, or somewhere where I could, I don't know, subliminate or live into some drama on the television that would help me get in touch with what I was really feeling. That was just my rhythm. I'd have my hoodie pulled up over my head, again, the curtains drawn. Carla would know that for a few hours at least, I just needed to collect myself. I needed to be in that space. I would find myself in the midst of the drama that I was watching, literally being present to some feelings that were coming to the surface and talking to God about them. And sometimes, quite frankly, and I'm even getting choked up just thinking about this, because it still happens to me. If I go speak somewhere, the people, I'll talk about the love of God, and they'll come up and the tears will flow, and I'll still feel it. I'll go back to the hotel room or get on the airplane, and I'll be, man, I'm feeling the pain of the world that I think Jesus felt. We get some of it on us. And I guess I would find myself talking to the Lord as those feelings I became more present to what I was really feeling. I would find myself just kind of pouring my heart out to Him. And of course, He would meet me there. Because he's the man of sorrows, acquainted with grief. And of course he came to bring us joy, the joy that comes in the morning. But sometimes we need to, be in touch with and lament the sorrow through the night that we might be experiencing. So I guess what I'm saying is, pull your hoodie up. If you're a person that likes craft beer or a glass of wine, have a beer or a glass of wine. Don't have three. That would not be a good practice to get into, but have your favorite beverage, sit there and be, and accept yourself, and weep if you need to. Jesus wept. It's okay. It's expected to be for you to feel those feelings on the day after, when you've absorbed so much from your folks through prayer requests and through just watching folks and hearing their stories and hearing them share their stories. I would also encourage you on Mondays, this might seem like not rocket science, but I was never very good at this. Find something that replenishes you. Now, some of my colleagues over the years have said what replenishes me is to go into the office and putter around. I don't want to work on sermons. I just want to do something that doesn't take much mindfulness. And so it's easier for me to take care of administrative details at the church and whatnot. Okay, if that replenishes you, that would not have replenished me, so I never did that. I always took Mondays off. When I was golfing back in the day, maybe I would golf if it was summertime. If it was, again, just watching several hours of TV, if that replenished me, I would do that. When the kids were younger, I would play games with the kids. Never was much of a hobby guy, but if you have a hobby, that would be a day to contract with your spouse to maybe engage in that hobby if it's something that replenishes you. I would also, maybe, if you're a sensitive human being, and I'm sure that many of you are, be aware that shame will often attack on Mondays. I would find myself second guessing every conversation that I was involved with. Why didn't I say this? Did I give them enough attention? Why shouldn't I have talked more about that? Why didn't I invite them into this space instead of sharing that space? What about the people that left, that were waiting in line to talk with me, but they couldn't get to me? And where were my other pastors, and why weren't they there, or my other staff, or my other elders? And what if those folk didn't feel loved? And so that shame, it's that feeling of we just weren't enough for the pain. We weren't enough for the pain. And I don't know why I'm so emotional today, but I can tell you that I still feel that feeling, and it still gets to me. And I have a sense that Jesus felt that as well in his human self on the planet. I guess what I'm saying is give yourself grace. Accept the fact that you're going to feel some of those feelings. And of course, tell yourself the truth, that you're even the Son of God himself felt that feeling of, I have to go be alone with the Father. The healing line has to stop here tonight. I have to move on to the next town. I can't get to everyone. Give yourself some grace to feel that and take that to the Father and let him embrace you there and hold you there and tell you the truth that it was never about you getting it all done, that he's got those folks. He's got those words of conversation that you wish you would have said or wish you would have changed. He has it all because he's the Lord, and he is Abba, and he is Abba to all of those that you try to minister to, even the ones you couldn't get to. And I always thought it was really, really a healthy practice. I've walked with like 3 brother pastors and a couple sisters over the years that I might find myself calling, especially if the lies were really just barking loudly on a Monday. I'd talk to them, share with them what the lies were about, what the feelings were about, what the false beliefs were about, the negative emotions or whatnot. And I just asked them to speak life to me, to speak truth to me. Many times to speak the love of the Father to me through the shame, through the loneliness, through the overwhelmed feelings that I was having after giving out so much. It's actually a way to live into 1 Peter 4:8. Above all things, love one another fervently. And you know that Greek word means both passionately and consistently. For that love will cover, you can translate very easily, heal a multitude of sins. And I think Peter meant the implication of those sins, all the domino effects of those sins in our lives. So as we take in the pain and feel what we feel of the sinfulness of humanity and the wounds, don't be afraid to call a colleague and just say, this is who I really am today. Take off your mask, relinquish the pride. Obviously, it will have to be somebody that's very safe for you. And just say, this is who I am, and invite them to speak truth to you, to speak the love of God to you, to literally reach through that phone and embrace you and hold you for a moment. You'll find their love healing you. If your vulnerability is met by their love, it will begin to heal you and get you ready to wake up Tuesday morning and go back at it again. So those are some thoughts. Let me just share in conclusion that I love you. If you ever want to chat, I'm just one guy, but you can contact me through the website. You can get me through the email that I gave at the beginning of this podcast, and we can talk and just try to connect, and then try to connect with others around the country that literally are trying to walk together as brother and sister pastors in authentic, real, mask-off relationship, which is the only way we're going to be able to consistently over the long haul both experience and give away the love of Christ to our communities that are so broken and so desperately in need of that healing love. So, love you, and we'll talk again soon. Take care.